Welcome to our December 9th Board of Education Business Meeting. I call this meeting to order and declare that we have a quorum, and we have a very special guest to lead the pledge, so if you would stand and remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was a short prayer. We're good with that. So, Angie, you go to Hickory, right?
Yes.
What do you like best about that school?
What I like best about Hickory is that all the staffs help me when I need help.
And you have some special guests with you tonight that you're going to introduce, right? Go ahead.
My mom here is named Carla, and she loves cleaning with me. My sister's name is April, and she likes reading books like me. And my dad is named Danny, and he likes watching soccer games.
Thank you. Now, in addition to your principal and your teacher and your mom, dad, and sister, let's talk about what you love next, because everybody is going to be really happy in the back when you tell them your favorite subject.
My favorite subject is math.
See, we got cheers going on back there. And you love to read comic books.
Yes.
And your favorites are?
Babysitter's Club.
Mine too. Anything else?
My other favorite book is Pocket Peaches, because it's a very good comic book that I like to read.
I was an English teacher forever, so I just had to ask what the favorite ones were. So, enjoying helping others, what does that look like?
Enjoying helping others looks like it's very kind, and it gives you lots of good compliments from people that you help.
I'm going to have to quote you on that because that was really, really good. And your favorite foods are my favorite foods, and they are?
Strawberry pizza and Subway.
Colleagues, do you have anything that you'd like to ask or add? Angie, thank you so much for coming tonight. You really just make the whole night a lot better. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Eat it now. Thanks. I need a motion to approve the agenda. A second? Second. And I need some motions for minutes.
I move to approve.
Do we want to vote on the?
Agenda?
on the-
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, the agenda stands.
Madam President, I move to approve approval of the open session minutes dated November 18th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any additions, deletions? All those in favor? The minutes stand approved.
Madam President, I move for the approval of closed session minutes dated November 18th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions? All those in favor? Thank you. It stands unanimously approved.
Madam President, I move for approval of the business meeting minutes dated November 18th, 2025.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any corrections, deletions? All right, all those in favor? They stand unanimously approved. Is that it?
That's it.
All righty. So now we move to special board action. Dr. Savai?
Thank you, President Zitmeyer. The Board of Education policy, BCA, provides that the board is to organize annually at a business meeting in December on or before the 16th day. During that election segment, I will be the presiding officer, and will now move forward with the board's reorganization. First, we're looking at the election of the president for the upcoming year. Do we have a motion for the president of the Board of Education? Or nomination?
I make a motion to nominate, oh my goodness, Darrell Evans. Sorry.
Do we have a second? Okay, seconded by Mrs. Beachley. Do we have any additional nominations? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations. So we have a motion, a second for Darrell Evans as the president. If you could show by raising your hands, those are in favor of Mr. Evans as president, please raise your hand. I have four votes with the student supporting the votes, so we have a majority. Congratulations, President Evans.
Thank you.
Also, this brings us to the second item, which is the Board of Education's reorganization election for the vice president. The nominations are now open for the office of vice president. Do we have a nomination?
I nominate Dr. April Zentmeyer.
Okay, so we have a motion to nominate Dr. Zitmeyer as vice president. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mrs. Beachley with a second. Do we have any additional nominations for vice president? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations for vice president. Those in favor of Dr. April Zitmeyer as vice president for the upcoming year, please raise your hands. Okay, we have a unanimous vote with the student member agreeing in support. Congratulations, Vice President Zitmeyer.
Thank you.
All right. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over and allow board members to appropriately adjust seats and turn it over to President Evans.
Stay here and then we'll switch. Throw it right back to you so that we can honor some of our students here.
Thank you, President Evans and members of the board. This was another tight volleyball season for WCPS with 3 teams in the running for state championships. One of those teams took home a Maryland state title, Clear Spring Blazers, and our Smithsburg boys cross country team also took home a state championship. I'll ask Mr. Eric Michael, our supervisor of athletics, health, and physical education, to introduce the student athletes and their coaches.
Good evening. Thank you for the introduction and the opportunity tonight to introduce our state champions. I'd like to, this time, to talk about a little bit about our fall sports season. It's always nice to talk about the success we had. We had a pretty good fall season. This year we had represented state championships. We had individuals and some teams represented in the golf championships, cross-country championships, and we had 3 teams in 3 different classifications in the volleyball state championships this year. We also had 1 team, Williamsport High School, that won the sportsmanship award at the volleyball state championships, which is a nice accolade as well. Tonight I'm fortunate to introduce 2 teams that did win state championships this fall. And with us tonight, we have the 1A state champions from Clear Spring High School volleyball team. With us tonight are team members Madison Armentrout, Addison Klein, Casey Custer. Juliet Hodge. Callie Hose. Aubrey Idnire. Malia Singleton. Olivia Smith. Ella Wagner. Head coach Jessica Custer. Assistant coach Susie Miller. A little bit about the team as they make their way in. This is the 4th year in a row that Clear Spring has played for the state championship in Class 1A, and it's the 3rd time they won the championship in the last 4 years. Pretty large feat on the field, and also in the classroom, these girls have a team GPA of 4.10. You're 1A, Class 1A volleyball state champions, Clear Spring High School.
Sounds here on 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
But they're welcome to stay.
Our second team tonight is the Smithsburg boys cross country team that was the 1A state championships this year, or 1A state champion this year. With us tonight, we have Gavin Gross, Dylan Herbst, Charles Higgins, Dylan Lowe, Emilio Malott, Grayson Weinkoop, Michael Weinkoop, head coach Adam Rudy and his assistant, and then assistant coach Stacy Crawford. While they're getting ready for pictures, this team, a little different approach. If I remember looking at the paper, first of all, it's the first time in 48 years that they've won a state championship at Smithsburg in boys cross country, and I believe the legend goes that Michael was a freshman on the starting line, the only freshman 4 years ago that said to Coach Shriver at that time that we're going to win a state championship before I graduate. Well, he did it. And their team GPA is 3.75. Congratulations, 1A cross-country champions.
Yep. You got it. Murray, a little bit to your right. No, you're good. Nora, to your right. There we go. Getting everyone in with us. All right, good smiles here on 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of our athletes. Next up on our agenda is public comment. And before we get to the speakers, I would like to read policy KD here. Each person wishing to address the Board of Education is required to sign up to speak prior to the meeting or by signing the log located at the back of the auditorium prior to public comment. Speakers may address any topic concerning Washington County Public Schools, educational environment, student well-being, and school operations. Comments that fall outside these parameters, including personnel or student matters which clearly identify an individual or individuals, will be deemed inappropriate and redirected to be addressed in a different forum. Each speaker may speak for up to 4 minutes. A timer will be used for each speaker. Once the speaker begins, the timer will be started, and a green light will be displayed when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining in their allotted time. A yellow light will be displayed on the timer. When the speaker's 4 minutes have elapsed, a tone will sound and a red light will be displayed on the timer indicating the speaker's allotted time has ended and the speaker's microphone will be turned off. The speaker who is unable to conclude their comments within the allotted 4 minutes may submit the remainder of their comments in writing to the Board of Education by email to boe@wcps.k12.md.us, by U.S. mail, or providing a written copy of their comments to the board at the meeting. And to sign up before the meeting, please use that same email, boe@wcps.k12.md.us. And our first speaker is Ms. Carol Mountain.
Good evening, President Evans, Dr. Sovine, and members of the board. I'm Carol Mowen, President of the Washington County Teachers Association. Last Friday, the WCTA Board of Directors met with Dr. Sovine and his cabinet for our second quarterly meeting this year. Our quarterly meetings began as a result of a new subarticle 1.5 added to the negotiated agreement during the 2013-2014 negotiations year. Since then, regular meetings have been held through various school district administrations and WCTA leaders. In 2021, WCTA's board proposed a more strategic framework for WCTA and WCPS leaders that we've used since that time. But then in this past May of 2025, WCTA leaders suggested that we revisit the purposes and goals for our quarterly meetings, and in September, we agreed to the following goals and collaborative priorities. Number 1, establish and maintain open, respectful, and timely communication. 2, collaborate on system-wide issues aligned to the WCTA and WCPS strategic goals. 3, maintain a focus on the learning environment and working conditions for staff and students through innovative thinking and problem solving that supports a positive, caring, and inclusive space for all. This December, we held our first collaborative session. We jointly agreed to focus on current special education programming and the expanding need to serve more students with specific needs than we can currently accommodate with classrooms and staff. Our WCTA board received the same presentation that Dr. Willow had provided to the Curriculum and Instruction Committee earlier this fall. I urge you as a board to work with Dr. Sovine and staff to reallocate resources if possible and to expand our capacity to address students' needs. In addition, I urge you to advocate for federal legislation to fully fund the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. Before IDEA, many children were denied access to public education. In 1970, U.S. schools educated only 1 in 5 children with disabilities, and many states had laws excluding certain students, including children who were deaf, blind, emotionally disturbed, or who had an intellectual disability. Even with increased allocations provided under Maryland's blueprint law for students receiving special education services, funding is not adequate to the task. First, funding lags student enrollment, so if in a given year, like this one for WCPS, the number of students who need the services increases significantly, the funding does not arrive until the next year. Second, the federal government has not ever fully funded IDEA. When it was enacted, Congress committed to fund 40% of the average per pupil cost for special education. A half-century later, states and locals are still waiting. This spring, congressional leaders, including Maryland's U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen, reintroduced the bicameral IDEA Full Funding Act to rectify the situation. But as of December 2025, it's still in the early stages of the 119th Congress, having been introduced and referred to House and Senate committees with no major passage yet. The bill aims to provide mandatory annual increases to close the funding gap. According to experts, current funding covers less than 14% of the costs. The National Education Association has posted a federal funding guide that reports IDEA funding gaps by state and school district from data collected in 2020-2021. That year, Maryland's funding gap was almost $500 million. Of that, Washington County's funding gap was $13 million. Imagine what we could accomplish for students if we had the staffing and resources necessary to support these needs that this funding would provide. I urge you to lobby for full support of this act and to seek additional local funding from county government to provide whatever funding could be immediately allocated for this purpose. The safety of our students depends on it.
Thank you, Ms. Mallon. Next up, we have Roger Stenerson.
Well, good evening, President Evans and board members. First, I congratulate you on your reorganization decisions this evening. As we close out the year 2025, we have many lessons to reflect upon, lessons that should guide us toward a stronger, more focused 2026. Throughout this past year, two areas have remained in sustained crisis, and those are special education and student behavior. Student behavior in special education continue to demand urgent attention. Extremely knowledgeable and effective senior staff members have left WCPS. Current staff are overextended, programs remain understaffed, available services are insufficient, and far too many students are not receiving the support they need. And I think this dovetails with what Mrs. Mallon was sharing with you to a degree. Rising to Learn's hope for the new year is that this board prioritizes these critical issues ahead of less consequential matters such as dress code details like not wearing hats, and that it direct its time, its funding, and support toward identified areas where students are genuinely struggling. Ultimately, when these needs go unmet, it's the students that bear the consequences. This board's agenda has been one of system-wide cuts. These have created a serious imbalance between the needs of students and the resources available to support them. As a result, those on the front lines now face longer waits for assistance and essential services. Employees have absorbed additional responsibilities under the unrealistic expectation of doing more with less system-wide. But the toll is evident. WCPS staff are overworked, exhausted, emotionally drained as they struggle to meet student needs. You must do better. Rising to Learn commends Dr. Sovine for working to advance a comprehensive strategic plan shaped by the voices of parents, staff, and the wider community. This type of thoughtful planning is essential for addressing the real challenges facing our schools. To our community, Rising to Learn is committed to being more engaged than ever. In 2026, Rising to Learn will work to ensure that our community is informed about the decisions being made and the impact those decisions have on your children. Rising to Learn will continue to help families learn how to advocate effectively for the support and services that their students deserve. Rising to Learn looks forward to a new year of growth, increased parent engagement, and a reinvestment in the well-being of WCPS staff, as well as greater care and achievement for all WCPS students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stenerson. Next up, we have Donald Donahue. Thank you. Next, we have Dave Williams. Thank you. We'll try Emily Agresto. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes,
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. My laptop did die, so I do have to go on my phone. I apologize. Good evening, board. My name is Emily Agresto. I'm a senior at Boonesboro High School. And earlier this year, I did come and talk to you about school lunches and our school lunch programs. And I've come back with some notes. And I want to begin by expressing my appreciation towards your efforts to expand our school lunch programs. You know, we had a few introductions at the beginning of the school year that were really appreciated, and especially in particular, the new Tex-Mex Bowl. That I know, Dr. Sovine, I see that thumbs up over there. People love it. I mean, if we could get a ton of meals like that, I think that our lunches would be appreciated by everyone. Everyone would eat it. I mean, I absolutely love the Tex-Mex Bowl myself, so I can't complain. And it's definitely been refreshing to see the new meals. And it definitely creates a positive school environment. I know that my friends obviously they enjoy the meal, and definitely brings joy. And then I do obviously appreciate these improvements, and many students believe that I apologize, excuse me. I appreciate these improvements, but many students believe that there is still significant progress to be made. One of the recurring concerns is the inconsistency in food preparation, which I have personally found that many meals were served overcooked, not undercooked, which can make them difficult and unappealing to eat. Consistency does matter, not just for the quality, but ensuring that students do feel confident choosing the meal and not skipping out on their lunch options. Another area that was brought to my attention was the condition of WCPS kitchen facilities. I know that some have gotten great improvements in the past years, but some have been left unattended. It's been a long time since I was in elementary school, but I remember in elementary school the kitchen was, not my favorite place to get lunch. Now in high school at Boonesboro, I really appreciate getting lunch there because I appreciate all of our lunch staff. And I'm just really happy that you guys really heard our voices to make improvements, and that's all I have to say. I just thank you for the positive changes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next on our list, we have Sean Porter.
Can you call Ethan first?
If Ethan would like to go ahead.
So is Tex-Mex Bowl, is that Taco Tuesday? Because I'm on board. Ethan Lowen, I want to speak about how at the last meeting, the one teachers union board member, I'm pretty sure was speaking to me in her comments and said that if I'm to reference DEI, I should say what it means, or I should say the actual term. And everyone knows what the term is, but it's irrelevant because actually that entire concept is really just kind of like a propagandist maneuver where the idea being if you control the language, you can control the thoughts. I mean, that's been a strategy used for generations. It's nothing new. But there is also another reason to not use the term. And what it is that it's damaging. It is a damaging thing that has caused much suffering over a period of years. It's not deniable anymore. Maybe 15 years ago, you could say, oh, well, I don't know. We don't know what the results are. If you are one of those people, you're not saying that now. You may be justifying it, but you're not saying we don't know what the results are. DEI, I've spoken about it before. I spoke about how that massive study that came out of Rutgers University showing that DEI actually creates bitterness in the workplace. It creates judgmentalism. It actually creates bigotry. It increases bigotry. That's ultimately what it showed, and that it created disunity amongst teams. But aside from that, you look at the effects that it's had on the communities that it's supposed to be helping. No, everything's worse. Crime is worse in those communities. Murders are worse in the drugs, education, academic performance, violence in the schools. It's all worse. And you can tell because even in the schools, where just 2 years ago, the teachers were oftentimes calling for DEI-type practices, restorative practices, social emotional learning, all the different terms, and they're not asking for it anymore. And the reason is because everyone knows what the results are. They want safety. They want actual results. But what's really interesting is that a few months ago, there was an interview that was given. So I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but some of the world's largest donors have backed away from giving donations to liberal NGOs, charitable organizations, non-governmental organizations. Bill Gates was the first one. The Gates Foundation even went so far as to say that climate change is something that has been way overdone, and we need to back away and be realistic. What in the world? It's the number one source of mental health issues in the world, and one of the 5 largest funders is saying that, nope, everything we've been saying is wrong. He just wrote a book 4 years ago. And what it is, Warren Buffett, numerous. What it is there is one of those donors, the ex-wife of a founder of Google, a very, very famous person who writes billions of dollars in charitable organization checks. And she actually gave an interview. And she had, earlier this year, I guess she had a life-changing event where she had a miscarriage. She almost died. And then she had a real awakening. And she said, and one of the things is she wants to fix the damage that's been done with these donations to all of these DEI type, she calls it social justice and climate change is how it's presented. But what she said is that, like we've known for years and years that it's damaging all the organizations. We haven't been fooled. We know what's happening. We know that when you add money to these communities, it actually impoverishes the communities as it just pushes all the wealth up. She said, and so, I'm running out of time. We'll go into more detail later, but she said that it needs to be fixed. It is damage. Thank you.
Next, we have Sean Porter.
Thank you. See, I'm just following up on what he said, so I, had to let him go first. Sorry about that. Anyhow, a lot of people made a big stink about free speech and comments of one of the board members, and they were going to bash the heck out of him here tonight, and then I guess they decided they weren't going to bash the heck out of him here tonight, which is great. He spoke about what was on his mind. He posted on Facebook, and he's been getting a lot of flack from the left because they hate free speech. But personally, I view this board member as a hero to the people. I spend a lot of time out west, pretty much every year, and I go to a place, it's a beautiful, scenic place, and I think it's a fitting place to memorialize the spirit of America. And people like board member Michael Gesford, for whatever reason, he's not here this evening. I see his jacket is there. I believe it's a members-only jacket. I think he's the last member. But anyhow, this particular place I'm thinking of, Gutzen Borglum, spent years doing beautiful carvings into this mountain, and it's very glorious. It's got some presidents on it, and it would be a great place to memorialize the bravery of this one particular board member for standing up to the left and not backing down in the face of criticism as an elected official with these ridiculous threats of protest which never materialized. And I've actually got an artist rendition of what we could do to memorialize him in the spirit of America and free speech. This is an artist rendition of what we could do to honor this brave man, Michael Gesford. So this is Mount Rushmore, and that's in South Dakota. And literally, there's enough space we could fit his big giant head right next to these president guys, and literally memorialize how he stood up to the left and how he defeated them in Washington County. So anyhow, that's all I actually came here to say today. Oh, and just so you know, there was an 8% pay raise that was going to come for Board of Education members and also county commissioners, and they were voting on it this morning, and the vote required what's called a public hearing, and during public hearings, the public is entitled to give a 3-minute public comment about that particular hearing item, and there's no way that Commissioner John Barr or Derek Harvey or Jeff Klein could silence that free speech for those 3 minutes. They tried to at a prior hearing, and then all of their outside counsel told them they can't do that. They can't stop particular words, they can't stop loud speaking, they can't stop expressive gestures and such, that it's all First Amendment protected. And they're in a bunch of hot water for what they did at the last hearing. And as a result, because myself and another citizen, Curtis Ray, were in the audience to give public comment this morning, they were afraid of what was going to come out of my mouth and what was going to come out of Curtis Ray's mouth. So the chickens at the Board of County Commissioners, that would be John Barr, Jeff Klein, and Derek Harvey, well, they decided to pass up on your raise. So that 8% raise for the commissioners, which I don't think they deserve since they ended public comment and since John Barr endorsed Governor Wes Moore back in October, and then today spoke highly of April Delaney, another left-wing nut. So I don't think he deserves the 8% pay raise. I think you guys do because y'all get paid almost nothing. But anyway, they said that they're going to table that issue, and they canceled the public hearing this morning because they were afraid of the free speech of the citizens, saying that they didn't deserve the pay raise, and then calling them out on all the horrible things that the Board of County Commissioners have done in the last year to stifle free speech and to suppress the rights of citizens, such as arresting Curtis Ray for asking John Barr to resign and for his child molestation allegations to be completely investigated. So anyway, have a great day, guys, and I hope you get that pay raise.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. And last on the list, we have Curtis Ray. Curtis Ray here? No? All right, that concludes public comment. We can move on to board member response to public comment. Nora, would you like to go first?
Sure. I strongly believe in the funding of special education programs. I have, although I've been on the magnet end of things, I have seen multiple of my classrooms have been bordering special education classrooms, and I've seen the disparity in something as simple as textbooks that we're given versus kids that may be in a special education classroom. I'm strongly in support of continuing to give funding to everyone and making sure everyone has an education that properly fits their needs.
Thank you. Charlie?
I just wanted to comment on the young lady that was up here for kitchens. I met with her, I think it was last year. And, but I did want to just make it clear, I've been in 21 of our schools already this year, and every time I go to a school, I always visit their kitchen, and I must say, they are cleaner and in better working condition than any restaurant that I've ever been in. And so I just didn't want that to get lost in anything that was said. But I'm glad you came back, and I'm glad you love those bowls.
Very good. Ashley? Nothing? April? Tori?
On the school lunch comment, I'm a big proponent of nourishing our bodies so that we can pay attention, and that's why I brought it up in our, I think it was a budget hearing or review, that I wanted to make sure we had options that are not only enjoyable but also nourishing. So I appreciate you speaking on that.
Yeah, I was going to kind of piggyback off what you just said, Ms. Beachley. I know, first of all, thank you, Emily, for coming out to share your experiences with us. We always like to hear positive comments. We don't usually get them, so we appreciate that. And I would ask, and I don't really know how it would work out, but I'd love to know more about your thoughts of the freshness of the food. I think, Nora, you spoke about this in the past as well. So I'd love to know more about the freshness of the food. My understanding is, not that I'm sitting there watching you guys eat lunch every day, that'd be kind of awkward, but, my understanding is there are fresh vegetables there, but they're not, most kids aren't going to eat vegetable on the side on its own. So a taco, yeah, the taco shell may not necessarily be very healthy, but at least you could go put something on there that would be, right? So I'd love to know more thoughts about that. If you guys could go and maybe send us some suggestions or comments, or maybe even as you're talking to student council, just kind of get their thoughts from other places around the county as well, so.
Emily's the one that's been championing that, and she's a member of my student council organization, so it's really nice seeing her here.
Very good. I appreciate it. All right, anyone else have anything for board member comment? Excellent. We will move on to old business, which there is none. So just kidding, Scott, you could come up and we'll go on to new business, and we will begin with the consent agenda.
Good evening, President Evans, members of the board, and Dr. Sovine. Tonight I have 10 items for your review. These items have been reviewed and are being recommended for approval by our Purchasing Review Committee, and staff is available if you have any questions on these items.
You want a motion?
Do we have a motion for the,
President Evans, I move to approve the awards, renewals, and procurements as presented in the consent agenda.
thank you, Dr. Zummeyer. Do we have a second?
Second.
I heard Ashley first. Thank you, Ashley. And do we have any comment? Any questions, comment, concerns?
I just have one question about number 8. It's the elementary school math K-5 illustrative mathematics renewal. Can you tell me a little bit more about that curriculum or materials of instruction?
Dr. Willow will be right up to answer that. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in elementary math.
So we purchased this curriculum, I think this is year 5, so 5 years ago. It is a renewal. It's what we're currently using. It's based on the current price. Actually, they did not. The price is consistent from where it was 5 years ago. It follows the Maryland College and Career Ready Math Standards. This particular set, when we had it approved years ago, one of the things that staff appreciated was the fact that it came with physical workbooks as well. We reviewed this at the Curriculum and Instruction Committee. The majority of staff that we surveyed, a high majority, were in favor of renewing it and not making a change and going to something else. Is there something more specific that I could answer?
Nope, I just wanted an overview. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just kind of curious because I know test scores across the state, not just with us, have struggled, especially in math. And I know we've made improvements, but maybe not necessarily quite as quickly as we'd like. Is there something more we're doing, or are we just going to continue using the same thing, hoping that it gets better?
So in terms of what we're doing with instruction, we went through some of the changes that are occurring within. A big part of our success is still in the primary grades. If you go back and you look at what we talked about a couple years back, the pre-K and kindergarten readiness, and in getting students ready for third grade math. And that does begin in those primary grades. But in part of just the resource, it takes professional learning. It takes time for teachers to be able to collaborate. It takes high quality assessments where you can respond to what students' needs are based on that. We have all of those pieces in place, Mr. Evans. And what you can see is when you start to look at third grade, we're actually ahead of where we were many years ago. Now we need to build off that success. And again, when you look at our results in comparison with everyone else, it starts with good quality tier 1 instruction.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else have anything else?
Question about number 10. It says it's a sole source. It's training programs for de-escalation techniques, physical restraint, and crisis intervention. Is it sole source because it's like Maryland governed, or why is that sole source?
And I don't know, you want to, it's sole source because once you provided training in that, all staff members have to be trained the same way. So if we would switch to a different training platform, anybody who's already been trained would have to be trained under that platform.
Okay.
So we've used this for many years.
Let's say at least a decade.
Okay,
over a
decades.
decade.
There we go. Longer than I've been here.
And then the numbers presented, so it says like an annual membership fee. I'm assuming that's just to be with that institute. And then like when I see trainer recertification 12, that means that there's going to be 12 staff members getting recertified and like only 6 getting certifications. Is that how I'm reading that?
Correct. Those were the estimated quantities of what they felt like they would utilize for this coming year.
Okay, so it's estimated, so it could
Yeah.
change.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Anything else? We'll move to the vote. All in favor? All opposed? We have 5 concurring with the student member concurring, 5 yeas. And we will move on to assignment and assumption of memorandum of understanding between D.R. Horton and Thomas Companies LLC.
Good evening, President Evans, members of the board, Dr. Savine. It's going to take a little bit to get in that groove, excuse me. This matter before you relates to a memorandum of understanding that was signed and approved by and between the Board of Education, D.R. Horton, and the estate of Helen Krakenbaum in September of 2023. The Board of Education holds an easement across that property and is, through the MOU, choosing to release that easement for improvements being made on the school grounds as the developer develops the land that is the estate of the late Helen Krakenbaum. As it turns out, D.R. Horton is not actually building the development, but the Thomas Companies is. They have agreed to take on all of the assignments from the MOU that we approved in 2023, and this is a transfer of those rights from D.R. Horton to the Thomas Companies.
Thank you, Mr. Prue. Do we have a motion?
To approve the assignment and assumption of the memorandum of understanding between D.R. Horton, Inc. and Thomas Companies LLC.
Thank you, Ms. Beachley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Burkett. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question. So since we're kind of in the middle of redistricting and everything, are we looking at this to change like Lincolnshire enrollment numbers by a lot with a new development coming in or anything like that we need to be kind of looking ahead?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head the projected enrollment figures. I don't know quite the number of dwellings planned for this development, but I can tell you that it is in our EFMP and it has been covered in the enrollment projections. So the Facility Enrollment Advisory Committee is considering this development when they're looking at the potential redistricting that's coming forward in the spring. It's been, any children coming from this development have been accounted for.
I just have a quick question. My recollection of this is there's no cost, right? They're not giving us any money for this, but in exchange, they are going to improve our properties so that there's easier access to the school, correct?
Correct. So the Board of Education's easement on this property was for water rights as well as a potential road into the back of the Lincolnshire property. The easement actually precedes the development of Halfway Boulevard, so it actually extends across Halfway Boulevard to Oak Ridge Drive on the, I guess that would be the north side of Halfway Boulevard. The developer is, in exchange for the Board of Ed releasing the easement, creating a driveway into the backside of the Lincolnshire property that can be used then for a parent loop. It will connect to the existing parking lot and allow us to create a parent loop through the parking lot. So once this is done, parents for drop-off and pickup will drive through the development through the backside of the property into the parking lot, circle around and go right back out the same way, and only buses will be doing pickup and drop-off in the front. So we'll be separating parent and bus drop-off and pick-off like we have in all of our newer schools. If you're familiar with that site, it's tight, it's congested. The bus circle, actually, there's a residential property right in the middle of that bus circle, which hinders some viewpoints. So this would be a significant safety improvement for the school.
Very good. Anyone else? All right, we'll move to the vote. All in favor? All right, any opposed? We have 5 board members voting yes with the student member concurring.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go back to Dr. Will, Deputy Superintendent, for another MOU.
Good evening, President Evans, Dr. Savine, members of the board. The MOU that I'm presenting for your approval tonight would allow the Student Trades Foundation to continue supporting our construction and automotive programs at Boyd J. Michael the third technical high school. The MOU, for the listening public, it might be helpful. Our students at Tech High actually build a house from scratch, from start to finish. They are constantly working on cars, buying cars, reselling cars, and that really goes beyond typically what a Board of Education would do, right? And so we have a wonderful trades foundation. And what this MOU is putting in place is really the current practices that are out there. They're the ones that purchase the property, they're the ones that purchase the materials, the oversight that comes along with that, along with the automobile and the car program. And what we're doing here is really putting into an MOU, an updated MOU, that is our current practice. So we're thankful for their support.
Thank you, Dr. Will. Do we have a motion?
President Evans, I move to approve the updated memorandum of understanding with the Student Trades Foundation.
Thank you, Dr. Zemmeyer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. McCusker. Do we have any comment, questions? Yes, Nora.
Although I don't want to keep us here too long, but I thank you again for this memorandum of understanding. These programs are some of the main reasons why people come to Tech High, and I see the joy in these students' eyes as they're talking about having real life experience on cars, on houses, and honestly, these developments within our schools are, first off, what drew me to go to Tech High in the first place, and I believe that they are preparing students not only for further education, but for the workforce, which may be their future.
Anyone else? Oh.
Question. So I know that this is for the construction and automotive repair trades at the Tech High. Is there, maybe this is not the right form, I'm not sure, that's why I'm asking. So for us to be able to renovate the salon for cosmetology, is that something that we can do through this trade organization, utilizing our students to actually do the work between like the Tech High and the South High Carpentry program to do the renovations? Or would that be outside of this?
I might, there are different rules and regulations on who can build and construction. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to probably call my colleague, Mr. Prue, up on that one because he's far more familiar than I am on that.
I apologize, I was attending to another matter. Would you mind repeating the question for me?
So my question was, I have no idea if it's regarding or something that would be in this kind of MOU, but I would like to see us be able to renovate the salon for the cosmetology students at Tech High. And my question is, can the students, whether it's through this Student Trades Foundation or some other way, do the renovations, right? So we have students that are learning how to build things, how to do cabinetry and carpentry over at South High. Can we have them actually do the renovations of the salon or help with at a minimum?
I suppose anything's possible. I'm not intimately involved in the curriculum of our building trades. The one item I would be concerned about is, sometimes residential construction and commercial construction are two totally different things. And first and foremost, we're going to start with an engineered design for that space. I would be potentially cautious that you would lose the cosmetology lab time. This would be a project we would look to probably fast track with a contractor during the summer months when students are not in session. So we wouldn't have the students during that period per se. And the question then really would be, could they get if they were going to do it, if let's say they were to start the day after school lets out, could they be done by mid-August, what we would require of a contractor so we don't impact the instructional time of the cosmetology students. That is a lab that we've had ongoing discussions about. Ultimately, it's a project that we have to decide how we want to fund, whether it's going to be something we submit to the county as a capital improvement project, whether we're going to pull the money from the Board of Ed's fund balance. We don't have a funding source for that project at the current time.
Right. And so I was thinking, like, strategically, how could we get it done sooner? And I understand what you're saying, and I would still just challenge that maybe even pieces of it. So if it's the cabinetry, I saw South High's shop, and like maybe they can build that during the school year to be installed over the summer by somebody else. But anyways, maybe outside of this, just wanted
Absolutely.
to ask the questions.
Thank you. Anyone else? I will say that some of the students from Tech High are building the house right behind my house on Sherman Avenue right now, and I can't remember if it was today or yesterday. I went home to walk my dog during lunch, and man, those poor kids. I was cold walking my dog with my heated gloves on. I don't know how they were working. So good on them for doing that. I'm too lazy to go and do that. So congratulations to them. With all that being said, I guess we'll move to the vote. All of those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. We have 5 board members in agreement, and the student member concurs. And we'll keep you here, Dr. Will, for personnel action.
Yes, good evening again. I'm here to seek your approval of personnel actions that were discussed earlier in closed session.
Thank you, Dr. Will. Do I have a motion?
President Evans, I move to approve the personnel actions dated Tuesday, December 9th, 2025, as presented in closed session.
Thank you, Dr. Zemmeyer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, and discussion happened in closed session, so there is none. We'll move to the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And we have 5 board members in the affirmative.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go back to the superintendent's report. Dr. Zavine?
Thank you, President Evans and members of the board. On an annual basis, our staff prepare a report for our board regarding the student enrollment trends, including a look at how our district is changing with students on pre and reduced lunch. This time I invite back Mr. Prue, and joining Mr. Prue at the table is Chad Criswell, our facilities planning supervisor, and they'll share this data.
Good evening once again. I'm pinch hitting this evening for Mr. Embley, who I'm afraid is at the first ever school concert for his oldest son. So I told him he did not want to miss that. So I told him I would take care of being here for him this evening to talk about the free and reduced meal eligibility rates. But I think I'll kick it over to Mr. Criswell, who really is the star of the show. All the slides are his. But really, this is, to give you a sense of what's going on with our enrollment on a school-by-school basis. And across the K-12 sector, and really as a comparison to what you saw September 30 of 2024.
And Jeff stated that pretty eloquently. This is what we do every year. We come in and we look at the enrollment as compared from September 30 of the current year to September 30th of the prior year, which are the dates that the state recognizes for our compensatory funding. This year, we were up 43 students in the grade K through 5 level. Not quite up as much as what we projected. We were up, but not quite as high as what we were thinking, just a little bit off. At the middle school level, we were down 18. So we were expecting to be up a smidge. We were down a smidge. Pretty close, pretty happy with where we came in at. And then at the high school level, grades 9 to 12, we knew we were going to be down. We were down just a smidge more than what we were expecting at 144. So overall, K to 12, our funding number, we were down 114 students from where we were last year. All in all, that's pretty good. That's 0.5%. I would call that flat. And compared to a lot of other counties that I've talked to, they're down significantly more. So I feel like we are in a very good position. I was extremely happy to see our K-5 enrollment stay level and be up just slightly, especially in talking with some of the other counties. We saw some in-migration in those levels, so I see that as a positive thing, and I'm anxious to see how that plays out in the next year or two as those students start to migrate through. So our K-12 total enrollment over the last 20 years, you can see that we've experienced slow, steady, a long linear line if we were to draw a line through that graph. Obviously, we had the dip in 2020 where we came down from COVID. We've been rebounding, and we came down just a little bit this year. Again, pretty flat overall for a linear line growth. If we take that enrollment and we break it out between the elementary grades, which would be the blue dots on the upper line, the middle school grades, which would be the purple line at the bottom, or the high school grades, which is the red line in the middle, you can see that in the elementary level, we were kind of above that 10,000 mark for a few years, and we've kind of settled down. As those students moved through the system, you can see where the little bubble kind of went through the middle school grades, and then it kind of moved into the high school grades and is starting to pass through. So these are the type of trends that we watch and help us make projections when we're considering the future enrollments. As we look a little closer at the elementary level, again, you can see we came down for COVID. We've been rebounding. Very happy with those numbers. And as we look at the school changes from last year to this year, all in all, pretty good. Bester, we were up 25 students this year. Now, Bester has a little bit of the old Winter Street attendance zone in it, and that can sometimes be a little bit more of a transient attendance zone than some of our other schools. For instance, Winter Street years ago when it was open, it went up 40 students one year, and then it came down the following year. It's some of our schools will experience things like that. Bester was one we saw that this year. We saw in-migration in a few grades where there was no development whatsoever. We just saw the grades increase. Looking at some of the other schools, Clear Spring Elementary, they were down 26 this year. They had a small incoming kindergarten class, a large exiting fifth grade class. That's what we would call rollover, which accounted for some of that change. Moving on to Greenbrier. Greenbrier was interesting. Greenbrier had a 53-student kindergarten show up this September. No major developments in that area. Typically, their kindergartens are in the 30 to 40 range, but sometimes we will see those bubbles come into our schools, and this is just one of those years where we see that come into Greenbrier, so we'll take that into account as we move forward. And then Hickory had a small incoming kindergarten class and a large exiting fifth grade class. Moving on to the balance of the elementary schools, Rockland Woods was up at 48. The Westfields development has kind of finalized its construction. It's finishing up. We saw in-migration at all the grade levels, so that was kind of where we were expecting. Ruth Ann Monroe Primary was up. They had a small exiting second grade that went on to Eastern Elementary School and a larger incoming kindergarten. And again, overall, K-5 at the elementary level, pretty flat, up 43 students. So we see that as good. Moving on to the middle, again, you can see we're right around that 5,000 mark, staying pretty steady there. At the middle school enrollment, we didn't see any huge changes. E. Russell Hicks was up by about 50. That was a larger incoming sixth grade class, smaller exiting eighth grade. And then Western Heights was the exact opposite. Western Heights had a small incoming sixth grade class and a large exiting eighth grade class. Moving on to the high school enrollment. High school changed for us a few years ago. The state required us to start reporting it to them where all the students from Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School were counted at their home schools. So we show this slide, and you can see we have 0 students at Boyd J. Michael Technical High School for how we report it to the state. For how we report it to the county, to the municipalities, and in all of our enrollment projections, obviously we have students at the high school, so we tend to use these numbers a little bit more than how we report it to the state. But at the high school level, again, down 144 overall, pretty flat, pretty consistent. Pretty good with the numbers and pretty close to what we were anticipating. As we move to the special enrollment, this number is typically capped at around 85. Sometimes it'll be a little lower, like last year at 82. This year it's a little higher at 87. But 85 is typically the number that we kind of expect that to come in at every September. So again, we're tracking right in line with that. So no major changes, pretty much what we were kind of anticipating. And with that, I'll hand it back to Mr. Prue.
So here again, you've got about a 10-year chart on our free and reduced status. And what you'll note here is a 7% decrease from the prior year in free and reduced meal status. I want to caution, this is not a significant change in the demographics of our community. What it is a change in how we are counting students for compensatory education eligibility for free and reduced price meals. For years, there's been a hold harmless for students, for schools that have the community eligibility provision, free feeding program. That's the universal free meal program that we offer in a number of our schools. And for FY27's funding year, that hold harmless is no longer there. It was changed in the blueprint law about 5 years ago. MSDE was supposed to come up with another metric for how they were counting poverty, and that has not happened. This is a big shift across the state, and what we're seeing from our colleagues is we're seeing that compensatory education numbers across the state are down, and they're artificially down because that new metric is not there. For our schools that are not accepting applications because their students are receiving free meals automatically, what we're reflecting here is only the students that are eligible for free meals by direct certification. They're on the supplemental nutrition program or the temporary aid program, or they're on Medicare, or they're foster homeless migrant. So any of those particular buckets is how they're counted. This is not a shift in the demographics of Washington County, it's just a shift in how we're changing. There's significant discussion right now with MSDE and then with the governor's office about a hold harmless, because it's a change in the law that was supposed to provide a subsequent metric from the state that was not provided. So we're giving you the numbers the way the law requires them to be submitted, but our numbers really predominantly are flat in our free and reduced eligibility across the state if we were to use the old counting measures. So with your packet, you also have a listing of what that breaks out to on a school-by-school basis. Again, I tempered this year's numbers because I'm not sure they truly reflect the demographics of our community.
So will this affect any of our Title I or COP funds or anything like that? Is that what that goes off of?
Should not. Title I's undergoing any number of other changes, and we've seen there are other metrics that the federal government uses to measure community demographics that has affected the amount of funding we receive for Title I. So that's not affected by these numbers per se, because the federal government uses other numbers. COP, we've taken a look at how this year's numbers reflect. COP is based on a 3-year rolling trend. We do not expect any of the schools to see a decrease in COP based on these numbers. We are trending that out to see what that will look like to make sure that we're accounting for it. So even if it's not in 27, if these numbers were to hold, what does it look like in 28? What does it look like in 29? And that's some trend analysis we've been working on to see how that will play out. But for now, I think we're good there. It does potentially impact compensatory education funding under the blueprint, which is funding we have in the general fund. And that's a place where districts across the county are working, or across the state are working with MSD and the governor's office to say, whoa, 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 this is not the right number, and we need to make sure that we're held harmless in this because there's other work that should have been done by others. It's not the district's fault.
Anyone else?
Yeah, earlier I asked you about which middle schools were receiving free lunches, and I forgot this one paper was in here. It's not numbered, but can you tell me again what they were?
Off the top of my head,
Western
I believe
Heights?
Western Heights, Northern Middle School, E. Russell Hicks, and Springfield Middle School, and Hancock Middle School.
Up at Hancock, how do
Middle.
they determine middle and high?
It's both. It's the whole building in Hancock.
Did you say Springfield or no?
I did, yes.
Okay. So there's 5 middle schools that receive, and so I've really been on this thing, and maybe you're getting tired of hearing me talk about free lunches across the board, but, so that only leaves 3 schools, 3 middle schools. My thinking is, if we start, all of our elementary schools receive free?
No, they do not.
Okay.
That's a longer list that I probably couldn't give you off the top of my head.
Okay. Can you get that to me?
Absolutely. I'll provide the board with a list of all schools in the CEP program.
All right.
At the end of the day, and I think I know where you're going, it seems like we're getting, I think we're at a tipping point now where we're half or slightly more than half that are in the community eligibility provision. It is a metric based on the amount of students in your school that are eligible for free meals by direct certification. So that list I rattled off: supplemental nutrition, temporary aid, Medicare, homeless, migrant, runaway, and some foster students. It's what is their percentage of the total enrollment of that particular school times a multiplier of 1.6. I'm getting way deep in the weeds on you. But that generates the reimbursement level you receive from the federal government for the free meals you serve. So we can go potentially as low as 40% DC eligibility. However, that means that only 75% of the meals will be reimbursed, roughly 75%, will be reimbursed at the free rate, and the rest are reimbursed at the paid rate, which is less than $1 per lunch daily for meals served. So you end up with a problem that the locals would have to pick up the difference if you wanted every school to be free.
So, yeah, I'd be curious to know, I mean, even in some of the schools where they all don't receive free lunch, there are some in that school who
Correct.
receive free lunch. I'd be curious, out of all of our students, how many are at least eligible for free lunch compared to how many are not? We
Well,
have
I can give you a quick-
22,000 students.
I can give you a quick example. We can kind of look
Well,
at.
I don't want to hold us here up.
Well,
too
but
long.
I'll give you a quick example looking at this chart. For instance, Boonesboro Elementary is a school that is not universal free. So that may be an easy one on the top of this chart in your packets. They have 478 students, 112 receive free meals, 20 receive reduced price meals. Everybody else is paid, full paid status. That's how this chart works. And, we can give you that list. We can give you a list of, here's the schools that are universal free with the enrollment. Here's the schools that are not with their free and reduced eligibility numbers, so you can see how many paid students are still
And
yet
then
remaining.
out
If
of-
that's,
And then out of those who have to pay, not all of them all the time are going to want a free meal.
Correct.
So you're not preparing for 600 students a day.
correct.
I
But
don't
what
know,
we,
at some point, it would be nice to see us take a serious look at the numbers to find out what it would cost to provide free meals across the board. I know that there's a senator who mentioned even providing free meals to the employees, but at least seeing where that's at with the kids, that's all.
we'll run some numbers.
I'll leave that alone for today.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Anyone else? The one question I had, not Hicks, was Western Heights. Their enrollment was significantly down. Is any of that attributable to kids not going into that magnet program? I think that's the arts program that they have there. Do you know if any of that is attributable to that, or are we just seeing lower population for this current year? I see Dr. Well coming up too.
I couldn't speak to the magnet program without going back and reviewing the numbers, and I have those, but I don't have them with me. I don't recall any bubbles for the.
That's just the one that comes up off the top of my head. I gotta imagine high school's down in general, so that's probably not it. But some of the other middle schools had some changes. Would that be?
No, the magnet program, it's consistent with the numbers at Western Heights. When you look back at Western Heights, at one point, it was closer to, I want to say close to 1,000 students, right around maybe pre-pandemic. And then Northern was actually a little lower. And what I have seen over the last couple of years is more of that balancing out that it was at historically. We're coming back to a more even level between those two schools. So when Northern goes up, Western tends to go down just a little bit, but the gains are usually comparable.
I think another thought when you're talking about Western, when Mr. Criswell talked about the transiency of the Bester neighborhood, the old Winter Street neighborhood, Salem Avenue, I think falls into that territory. This is also the Western attendance zone predominantly. So there's a lot of similarities between those schools. I think Hicks falls into that realm. So while Hicks, I think, was a large 6 going out with a small 8 leaving, some of that could also be transiency in terms of where the numbers of people have moved from the west end to the south end. You'd see that switch.
That is correct.
Very good, thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Evans and Mr. Criswell, Mr. Prue, thank you for that report. That does conclude my report segment for the December meeting. I'd like to transition to my update segment with a few announcements. Last week, I was honored to join one of our high school tutor apprentices for special recognition with the governor. Damir Wade is a student at South Hagerstown High School, and he tutors students at Bester Elementary. He was invited to speak at a special announcement with the governor in Annapolis, and the announcement was geared towards strategic ways to build up the teacher workforce. WCPS was highlighted for our tutor apprenticeship program that this board very much supports. And in Damir's comments, he referenced his desire to give back and to make a difference in his community. That's what led him to the tutor apprenticeship position. and he now plans to study education after graduation. His goal is to return to South Hagerstown High School and be a social studies teacher. Dr. Willow is excited about that decision there. I'll just say that Demir represented WCPS exceedingly well. His mother was there to enjoy the moment, but he spoke following the governor, following the state superintendent, and just did an amazing job. So I want to just extend a shout out to Demir for representing WCPS. Next, our staff has been providing an update regarding the reopening of Williamsport High School during each of our business meetings, and considering this is our one business meeting for December, and I'm pleased to share that we're in the final stretch, and I want to share with you a couple notes regarding the progress that continues to be made. Work, as you can see the pictures here, cleaning of the building is nearing completion. I want to emphasize that, nearing completion, with hopes that the cleaning process will be completed prior to the winter break here in just about 2 weeks. All the construction projects that were delayed are active, so that's another important component. And ceiling replacement in the lower level is nearing completion. So you see a consistent theme of completion of projects. While some of the heating has been active over the last week in the gym and shop area, we hope to have fully operating the boiler system to heat the gym level within the next few days. The goal is by the end of this week. I'll just share that in discussion with board leadership earlier today, the January 6th meeting, immediately following the holiday break, the work session, we will provide a more comprehensive update regarding our progress. So Mr. Prue, Dr. Willow will join us, and I'm pleased just to share that we remain on track to be back in Williamsport High School in person on January the 21st. So I want to thank our team members, I want to thank the staff, students and parents at Williamsport High School as we near that completion date and that transition on January the 21st. More to come at our work session on January the 6th. Also, I just want to mention that WCPS has launched our second annual district engagement survey with our learning community. You see this posted here. Students, staff members, and parents have the opportunity to complete a survey that is unique to them. This is one way to collect feedback, and it's a critical part of our strategic plan. This is how we measure our progress and growth in reaching our goals where they're planned, and certainly our stakeholders, our parents, our students, and other community members, their feedback in terms of targeted areas is certainly valuable. Students will be able to complete the survey during the school day, and parents and WCPS staff receive a survey link that is unique to them, and we're again working with the vendor, which will ensure all responses are anonymous and remain confidential. I encourage all of our stakeholders to complete the survey between now and Friday, January the 30th. Finally, this is our final meeting before the winter break. So on behalf of Washington County Public Schools, I want to wish our learning community a happy and relaxing holiday season. Hope everyone enjoys their time with friends and loved ones. I'm especially grateful for this board, our families, and our staff for always supporting our students and our schools. As a reminder, as you see here, students will be dismissed 2 hours early on Tuesday, December the 23rd. Winter break will start for all students and staff on Wednesday, December the 24th, and will run through the New Year's holiday. We will welcome everyone back on Monday, January the 5th. Next day, Tuesday, January the 6th, we'll have a work session. At this time, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a great start to the new year. President Evans, members of the board, that concludes my update and report.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. We appreciate that. Next on our agenda is reports to the board. First on the list, we have CNI, curriculum instruction.
Curriculum and Instruction will meet on January 13th, 10:30 a.m. at Clear Spring Middle School.
Very good. Next, we have facilities. Mr. Gessler's not here. Any members here know when the next meeting is? No? Then we have finance.
Oh, wait, I do. I do know when it is. It's on the 27th.
Of January, I assume.
Yes, at least right now.
Okay, for the time being, to be confirmed. Very good. Next, we have finance.
Finance, we are getting together on January the 28th at 8:30 a.m. here in the boardroom.
Very good, thank you. And policy, we have nothing. And, human resources, I think I just saw there's a meeting coming up for that too.
I think it's also the 13th, but at 1 o'clock here.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Miscellaneous business, we have future agenda items. 2026-27 middle and high school program of studies work session will be on January 6th. Board norms and communication processes will also be in our work session January 6th, along with the aforementioned Williamsport High School update. Great to hear all the good things happening there. If any board member would like to add anything for the future agendas, please let myself or any member of the Agenda Planning Committee know, and we will do our best to get that on there as quickly as possible. And then that takes us to board member comments. Ms. Beachley, you want to go first?
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Very good. Nora?
Yes, happy holidays. As I mentioned a little bit previously, Washington County Association of Student Councils is actually having our second General Assembly of the year this Friday in this conference room. If any board officials would like to come, please let us know. We would love to have you. Yeah, we're all.
What day was that?
This Friday, December 12th.
What time?
It starts at, I believe, 10 and ends at 1.
Okay.
It's basically, it goes until 1 during the school day. We're working towards that. We're also working towards creating a Fill the Bus fundraiser with local community partners and, trying to grow our student community. Happy holidays. Please give back to the community whenever you can. I know recently what's been going viral is those Angel Tree donation videos, and they always seem to brighten my heart. So donating to Toys for Tots and Angel Trees and things like that, where it's accessible now, like this time of the year, truly helps benefit anyone that can reach it. I hope everyone has a nice, safe, and warm holiday season.
Thank you, Nora.
I would just say Merry Christmas to everyone. Hopefully, everybody will take time during this break to spend time with family and enjoy the reason for the season.
I just want to say Merry Christmas, and I hope everyone has happy and safe holiday season.
I can do my stories again. This is wonderful. 60 years ago today, a Charlie Brown Christmas debuted on TV. Now, they expected it to be a flop, and they thought it was a huge risk because scripture was involved. But half of the households with TVs in all of the United States tuned in. And even more interesting, they're still tuning in. Charlie Brown was depressed by the commercialism of Christmas, and he begins his search for the true meaning of Christmas. But it's Linus who quietly drops his blanket and starts his rendition of Luke with "Fear Not." During the Great Shake at Boonesboro Elementary, I was able to shake hands with over 50 kids and have a little conversation. It's called the Great Shake. So my question to each of them was, what are you looking most forward to during the holiday? Overwhelmingly, at least 90% of those kids said, not the latest, greatest toy, spending time with X, Y, or Z relative over dinner. I thought that was just so incredibly amazing, to have a celebration with family. And so I hope, no, I pray, that you will have a great Christmas filled with love, hope, peace, and amazing joy, a Charlie Brown Christmas. Merry Christmas.
I always appreciate our history lesson, stuff I didn't know. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to, first of all, thank my fellow board members. I really appreciate the confidence in me. I will do my best. If anyone sees me doing anything wrong or even knows I'm thinking about doing something wrong, please redirect me. I am not too proud to be told something, to do something different. So I really do appreciate that. It's incredible to hear about Williamsport. Man, these kids have been out of school for more than 6 months now. It'll be 7 months by the time they get back in school. And I just want to personally say thank you to the Williamsport community for their patience and understanding. This is a less than ideal situation, to put it nicely. And they've been great in rolling with the punches, and I know I can speak for all of us when I say we apologize that you have to deal with it, but we thank you for the patience. And also, I guess this is the first day I'm driving past the school and I see them going and jackhammering out that you just lost your view there up there. And it's great to see that school work started. I told Miss Beachley as we were walking in, if you want to see what $50 million looks like, there it is. But it's great to see that. There's a lot of good things happening here, and I'm thankful to be a part of it. I'm thankful for all that our board members do, thankful for all that everyone does, and just like everyone else, I'm looking forward to Christmas and time with the family, and I hope everyone else is, and I hope it's a great just about a month before we see each other again. So if no one else has anything else, then we can adjourn the meeting. All right, Merry Christmas, everyone. Go ahead.